Hey, what's up, you sexy bitches, and welcome to this week's Weekly D. And today we've got your favorite episode. It's Dear STD. I've got Stevie and Thelma, also known as Athena, on today, and we're talking about a range of subjects. We actually go off track quite a lot. Shock, horror, I know. So without further ado, this is the Weekly D, because honey, if you ain't getting your D on the daily, you better at least be getting it once on the weekly.
If you're not getting any and you want some tea, then come and join Dan up on the Weekly D. It's the Weekly D.
Oh hey, it's STD here. It's Stevie Dan, and even though her name is Athena, you don't know this, but her name is actually Thelma Kelly. So that's why we're called STD. Hey guys, how are you doing? Stevie, how are you?
Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm good. I feel like I've just about recovered from New Year's Eve. Now that I'm about 100 years old, it takes about 2 weeks to just get over one hangover.
You're like 28, for fuck's sake.
I'm
how old
32.
Are you now?
32.
Oh my god, you're so young though. Like, you're not even 32 and you're like trying to act like you're a 60-year-old.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't go lightly. I went out and then I had to work and then went out afterwards, but then I got back at 2 in the afternoon.
Wait, well, hold on. So you went out and you didn't get back until 2 in the afternoon?
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's taking me
What, you
so
didn't
long.
sleep?
No, I was awake for like 32 hours.
Oh my god! That sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, I had to work.
That makes me feel sick to even think about being up for that long.
It's not something that I want to bring into the new year, that's for sure. I feel like I learnt my lesson very early on.
Athena, how are you?
I'm great. I was just looking at Stevie and thinking how zen he looks like, but actually, yeah, it's more like he's recovering from that New Year's.
Stevie is like so funny because when I first ever met Stevie was such a party animal. He's not as much now, but he still knows how to party. But literally, like, we would go on nights out and it'd get to like midnight, or even maybe I'd stretch to 1 a.m. I'd be like, right, babe, I need to go home. And he'd look at me and be like, as if to be like, I'm definitely not going home now. Like, his night's just getting started type thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go home. You have fun. I'd like give him some money to go and buy some drinks. I'd be like, here you go buy some drinks. Like when you throw a treat for a dog and then you run out of the house so they don't notice you've left. It was kind of the same situation.
Oh my god, it's good that we didn't meet in our party days, Stevie. We would probably be dead.
Oh god, yeah, you two, I can imagine. I've just never been like that. I've never ever, like, I mean, Athena, have you ever stayed out until like the next afternoon? Like, I've never ever done that. I've never stayed out until the next morning.
You do coke and then you can stay up for like 5 days.
Fucking hell, how much coke are you doing to stay up for 5 days?
I'm joking. I don't know who stays up for 5 days. The maximum, I think, was up for 3 days. But then I was already like looking like a zombie and smelling really bad. You know.
Oh my god. How old were you at the time?
I stopped when I was 30.
Oh, you stopped doing drugs or you stopped partying?
Both. They go together.
Oh, okay.
They kind of go together. Yeah.
They do go together, yeah.
Yeah, true. So, and you've never done drugs since?
No. I've had a little bit like of a 1 time or 2 times, but then the next day I was like, okay, now I know why I stopped. Like, no.
But you smoke weed though, right?
No, Marco does. I can't handle weed. It gets me so paranoid. I hate it.
Oh god, yeah, I've heard about that. Weed making people really paranoid and giving them munchies. No. Stevie, when was the last time you did drugs?
That's the only reason I went to Amsterdam though, was because when you wanted to do weed, Dan, and then you ended up not doing anything, and I would end up stoned. The only
well, it's because I realised, I was like, right, you said you wanted to do weed, but actually you don't smoke, so inhaling smoke for you is just not natural to you at all. So I just ended up choking my guts up, and then Stevie ended up smoking the rest of the weed. But what I should have done in hindsight, I should have got a brownie. That's what I should have done. I should have got a weed brownie. Can you imagine me though, fucked off my face on weed? I would just be a nightmare.
Well, that's the only reason I went on the holiday, was because that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to go and celebrate your birthday. I just
You
wanted to
on
see
weed.
High for the first time.
You're like, fuck your birthday. I just want to see you get fucked off your face. Oh God, I would have been a mess though. Can you imagine? I would have been an absolute mess. So I'm really glad that I didn't.
I know. Right, let's talk about these New Year's, because I remember, I think it was in the last podcast, we started talking about weed turkey dinosaurs. I feel like...
No, let's talk. I want to talk about turkey dinosaurs again. Yeah, no. So we did have it on our list to talk about New Year's resolutions. So I'm going into the new year with very much a New Year, same me type situation, but with a few little mini changes. Because I just feel like, I don't know if you guys agree, but I've done it so many years in a row where I've been like, oh, New Year's, I'm going to lose loads of weight and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you never do any of them. I just thought, oh, this year I kind of want to be more realistic. I'm just going to, I think one thing that I do want to do is I want to focus on trying to be more productive. I felt like last year, pretty much ever since COVID started, I got into this really bad habit of just laying in for too long. So I'd be like sleeping in until like 9 or half 9, and I'd be like, oh, then I'd snooze my clock and I'd like wake up at 10. By the time that I've woken up, got on with my day, like maybe had my breakfast, and then I've gone to the gym, got back, it would be like 1 or 2 o'clock. So then I'd have like 2, 3, 4, 5, like 3 hours to do any work at all, which is fuck all really. And then I'd have to teach. And then by the time I finish teaching, I'm just tired and I want to just chill out with Mitch. So I was like, nah, I need to get back into more of a habit of like waking up early, being more productive. I've also got into this really bad habit of scrolling on social media. So I'm trying to stop that. And I'm trying to be like, right, when I'm doing a task, that is the task, and you don't get to scroll or do anything until that fucking task is finished, because I'll be halfway through doing something and I'll be like, oh, okay, I need to send this person a message as part of this task. So I'll go to Instagram, I'll send them a message, and they'll be like, oh, that's a cool video. And then I'll just get lost scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, it's so annoying. So yeah, that's my main things, I think. But what about you, Stevie? Go on, you go first.
No, I agree with you actually. And when I'm like essay writing, I have this app called Forest, and you set like
when he's essay writing. Yes, we know you're educated. We know you're smart, darling. Okay, come on. What else do you want to tell us?
No, I mean it in the same context, and it's a way of so you aren't allowed to touch your phone for the duration that the timer's on. Otherwise, it like grows a tree in that time. And then if you touch your phone, the tree dies.
Oh.
And then at the end of the day, you have like all this forest of like grown trees. And it's like just to help you concentrate by not checking your phone.
An app.
Yeah, it's called Forest.
That is so clever. So if you check your phone, a part of the tree dies. And depending on how many times you check your phone, the tree dies.
The tree dies from like, it gives you, the moment you like touch your phone or go to do something, it's like, warning, the tree's going to die if you carry on. And then you're like, oh, and then you put your phone back down.
Oh.
But who gives a fuck about the tree dying on a phone? Like, I wouldn't give a fuck. I would be like, yeah, fuck the tree,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have like a forest of all these like grown trees, and then you don't want dead trees, you want alive and healthy ones.
I understand though how that works. Like, it's almost like a game, isn't it? To be like, oh, I want to get a nice little forest at the end of the day. The only problem for me with that is that so much of my work is on social media. So when I'm doing, like, for example, booking workshops, all of them come from Instagram. So I'm going through the messages. I then have to message them information or whatever. So it's just so difficult to do that. But do you know what you need? I need like an app that can lock away like certain apps. I'm saying that wouldn't really work for me either. Because if I locked away Instagram, how am I going to message the people that I need to message? It's a fucking nightmare for me.
No, you can't use an app or anything. I think it just has to be you. Like, it has to be your own character who says like, no, stay away. You can't have like an app who's locking you out. It's not gonna, you're gonna find a way to break the app.
Yeah, well, like you said, Athena, it's that whole thing of like, you would just, if it was growing trees or whatever, you'd just be like, oh, fuck the trees. But you can.
You just need like an Instagram messenger, like on Facebook, and they have a separate messenger.
Do you know what? Actually, it's really funny. I thought about getting these for, and this sounds crazy, really, that I'd even need to consider something like this. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like in the evenings, sometimes when me and Mitch are having that quality time together, sometimes phones can really get in the way, and we don't get to really spend that time together. Which is why when I'm on holiday, a lot of the time I'll leave my phone in the room, because I'll be like, right, when we're on holiday, like you take the photos on your phone. I'm not going to bring my phone, because it just takes one person to message me, an instructor, to say, oh, can I get cover or something? Or, oh, I can't do this. Or the studio needs cleaner. And it will just stress me out. And I'll be like, oh, now I'm stressed and I'm on holiday. So what I do is I just leave it in the room. But what I need is something for like at home, like for when we're on like date night or whatever. And have you seen, you can get these like, they're like lock boxes that lock for a certain amount of time. So you enter the amount of time, you put your phone in it, and then you lock it in, and it won't open. The box won't open until that time is finished.
That's good.
It is good, but the only thing is, I look at that and I think, what happens if, let's say, for example, I know it sounds stupid, but what happens if I've blocked it in the box and Mitch dies, like he has a heart attack, right? And I need to like call someone. Yeah, sure, I could use his phone. But when you're like, I need my phone because I need to get so-and-so's number or something, do you know what I mean? Or I need to get this information and it's locked in this fucking box. Like, what would happen?
But can't you just, do you have an Apple Watch?
No.
Oh, well, maybe you could just use your laptop to like ask Siri to call.
Yeah, true, actually. Okay, yeah, you're right. There's always a
off.
way. I just thought, I was like, there's going to be something that you might actually need it
Wait,
for.
don't
Do
you
know what I
have
mean?
like these like fixed phones, these line phones? Don't you have those?
Oh, these land phones. Oh.
Athena's like, don't you have a burner phone?
Athena, I bet Athena as well. I bet her home phone is like one of those, the ones with the cords on it. The ones with like when you like dial the number but on that little circular thing. No, Athena. So in like pretty much every household now in the UK doesn't really use landlines. We used to have a landline to be able to have the internet, and now you don't need the phone anymore. You do need a landline to be able to get access to the internet because it's through the same thing or something. But yeah, you don't actually need the physical phone. So no, I don't even know what the landline number for here would be if we did put a phone in. But yeah, we don't have a landline.
Yeah, I don't have a.
We have one, but
landline.
we never use it. It's my mother-in-law's phone, literally, and it's funny because when she's not home and the land phone rings, like we just like Marco and I, we just look at each other and we're like, yeah, we just let it ring, it's definitely not for us. It's like, oh, okay.
This is the thing, like in the UK as well, like for us now, we all use our phones. So if the landline rings, it's a sales call. It can only be a sales call. It's the only thing it can be because no one has a landline number. So the only people who can have it are sales companies. So it's just that whole thing of like, we never used to answer it. Actually, in our old house, we did used to have one. It was behind the sofa because we just didn't need it. So we just left it behind the sofa where the plug was. And when people called it, I just pick it up and then put it back down again, just so that they'd cut off so it would stop ringing. And it rang once every few months. It was literally hardly ever. So yeah. But anyway, I don't know how we got onto that.
I was going to say, going back to this box thing.
Going back to your New Year's resolutions, Stevie, what are your New Year's resolutions, please?
Well, actually, I just want to say about your phone lock box thing, I think it will actually work quite well because it will teach you that when you're locking your phone away for a certain amount of time, when you actually check your phone, no matter what happened, or even if it's one of like an instructor needs cover or something, they can wait that hour or they can wait that 2 hours or whatever it is, and it will teach you that self-control and restraint I think that you need, and then eventually you probably won't really need that box anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think and that's the thing actually. Mitch always says to me, like, whenever I'd be stressed by things like this, it's like, well, if you hadn't looked at that, you wouldn't have been stressed about it because, sometimes I've left my phone, and using my instructors as an example, sometimes someone will message me like, hey, I need cover for this class. Can someone cover me? And I instantly just think, oh my God, what if no one can cover? But, and then an hour later, someone will message me and be like, yeah, I can cover it. And then I'm like, oh. I was stressed about it for no reason. Do you know what I mean? And it's that whole thing about, actually, if I'd left my phone and seen that an hour later, I would have seen both conversations and been like, oh, she needs cover. Oh, someone's going to cover it. Great. So yeah, it's that whole thing of like, you know, what you don't see can't hurt you kind of thing. And actually, I have definitely, that's actually another one of my New Year's resolutions, is to stop looking at so many comments and stuff on social media. Especially polos, which is why Nadia does pretty much 90% of polo stuff. The only thing I really do on polos now is Tuesday Topic, which we'll talk about today.
Why don't you look at the comments?
Just because it stresses me out. Like, sometimes people will be attacking me or the page in the comments. And it will sometimes be that because they've seen a fail that they didn't like, and they're like, oh, I think this is irresponsible that you're sharing this. And then it could be a Tuesday Topic and be like, oh, I feel like you're enabling this person to spread hate, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to please everyone. You know what I mean? I've learned that over the years. You're just never going to please everyone. And I just think, if I don't look at it, it can't bother me. And the only time now I ever see stuff like that is when people are really angry. Because what happens is when people have really gotten angry, or they're just crazy, which tends to be more likely, that they're just fucking crazy people. And what they do is they comment, then they post on their stories and they tag polos. Then if we don't react to that, which generally we don't because we don't see them, like we check the messages once a week, once every 2 weeks. So if you tag us in a story, the likeliness is we won't always see it. And then they'll tag their story. Then what happens is if we don't reply or notice their story, they then start tagging me. They'll tag me personally in the hopes that I'll see, and sometimes I will. And then I'll send it to Athena and be like, look at this fucking crazy bitch. Why are they tagging me? Like, fuck off. So I'll normally just ignore it, or I'll just reply to it and just be like...
Or you'll be in bed because it's before 9:30.
Exactly, yeah. I just always have to hope that they do it after 10 p.m. and before 9:30. But yeah, and it's just one of those things. Like, me and Athena message about it all the time. Like, Stevie, obviously, you've probably never experienced it because you don't post so much on social media. But Athena, like, you engage with it a lot, don't you? So, like, when people do come to you in negativity, you engage. What makes you choose to engage?
Just my level of toxicity that day. If I'm feeling toxic, I'm like, oh, great.
You picked the right day.
Yes, great. I was just looking for someone to like pour all my negativity on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're totally right as well, actually. Sometimes it literally, for me, is the day as well. Like, if you catch me on a bad day, do you know what? The perfect example of that, and I've left it out there purely because of how funny it actually was. Remember when Anastasia Sokolova came to me? That's a perfect example of, oh, you just caught me on the wrong day. Like, if she caught me on any other day, I probably would have just ignored her. But she caught me on the wrong day, and I just thought, no, I'm just not going to fucking take this shit. Like, I don't think anyone should have to take this shit. This is the problem. And so many people do sit back and take it. And I understand why they do it. And I see, you know, sometimes I saw a little while ago, people coming for Carmine Black for something, and she didn't engage. She left it. She just thought, you know what, fuck. I assume she just thought, you know what, fuck you all. And she didn't do anything. And I saw it and I thought, I totally relate to why she did that. She knows that as soon as she says something, it's 24 hours more of screenshots. Yeah. You just know that if you say anything, it's going to be screenshot, and it just carries on, doesn't it? So that's why I added it to my New Year's resolution, just to not engage, and just to, all of my responses now are just they're so professional. They're like,
takes more like constraint to not say anything as well.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's so much harder to not say anything because sometimes you really want to put someone in their place. But, you know, now we have very much like a generic response that me and Nadia both use, where we're just like, you know, thank you so much for this feedback. Blah, blah, blah. You know, thank you so much for your feedback. And, you know, and sometimes it's good feedback. You know, sometimes people are messaging because someone is doing something bad in the comments, I'll be like, hey, just let you know, I don't agree with this, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, I agree. So we go on and we delete it. If we catch it in time. You know, it's so tough. You know, sometimes it's difficult. And even like that, even when people are being toxic in the comments and we delete it, that's come back on us before. It's come back on us and people have been like, oh, you're silencing them. It's just no winning. But yeah, so that's my rule really, is that this year I want to try to just ignore it, just not engage with it.
Yeah, tell them to shut up.
What? Why are they? I know what it is. It's the dog walkers come to get them.
Oh, yes.
The dog walkers come to pick them up. Yeah, the dog walkers come to take them out, so they're excited to see her. But yeah, sorry, Stevie. Go back to what other New Year's resolutions you've got.
I'm not like a goal-orientated person, so I don't really set goals. Like, my life is busy enough as it is for me to be like, oh, I haven't done this, oh, I haven't done that again. But I do just want to keep, like, I was doing quite well with the gym towards the end of last year, and I just want to keep going on with that.
How is gym?
And not letting... Yeah, it's good.
How is he? Oh, sorry, you mean the gym?
Gym's really well. The gym.
Oh, okay.
And just not letting things, like, interfere with that. And learning to, rather than, like, go out or go for those drinks, be like, okay, I've actually got the gym in the morning and I'm going to like put a bit of a restraint on that, because I know that when I wake up I won't want to go, and like that kind of thing.
Well, like we discussed before we even started this podcast, I went to the gym this morning. I do go to the gym, but I tend to go in the afternoon. But again, I just feel like it's a good way to start your day with exercise, isn't it? So if you can exercise first thing in the morning, you're going to be so much more productive. Like this morning already, I went to the gym, did my workout, I did some cardio, I did my workout. Then I came here, I did a little bit of work, did some emails. Now I'm doing this with you. And then once we've done this, I'm going to have like 4 or 5 hours to work. So that's kind of perfect for me. Do you know what I mean? It means that I've got like 5 hours to get admin done. Is quite a lot for me. Like when I'm quick, I can get a shitload done. But when you've got 2 or 3 hours, sometimes you only just get started. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, okay, that's cool.
But sometimes we know, like, we work better, like, closer to deadlines. So sometimes when you've got so much time, you actually don't really get a lot done because you end up procrastinating or like checking your phone or doing something else. But when you've got a short amount of time, you actually realise you get a lot more done.
Yeah, I agree. Any other resolutions, Stevie?
I think...
To get engaged this year?
Do you know, people keep talking to me about that, and I do want to marry Dylan, but the issue is my parents, like, don't get on at all. So my worry is, like, what do I do about getting them into the same room? And like, my mum's openly said to me that if my dad goes to the wedding, then she won't go. But then...
I'm not being funny.
Which everyone said,
really
like,
for your mum to do that.
Of course she'll go.
But I'm not being funny. Like, that is so bad of her to say that, because this is your day. It's not about her. It's not about her. Like,
exactly.
I think, so I'm not being funny. But
I think it was just on an off day, but it was a few years ago now, so maybe she's changed her tune, but I just haven't really, like, revised it.
And maybe something had happened back then. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they'd had no whatever. But, you know, time goes on. And it's that whole thing of, like, your happiness will be a much more of a priority for her. She's not going to not come to your wedding because he's there. And also, like, you're going to sit on the opposite, so they can sit them on the opposite fucking sides of the room. Do you know what I mean? They don't have to sit next to each other and be buddy-buddy.
Well, I said to Dylan, I was like, why has COVID already been? Because it would have been perfect, because everyone would have just been on Zoom.
Yeah, wedding on Zoom. Oh my God, that would have been so cheap as well.
Damn, why is that the first thing you think of?
I'm like, think of the money you'd save.
It would have had to be in like 40-minute increments though, because I'm not paying for a Zoom subscription.
I know. I'll be like, listen, we're going to have to do this 40 minutes at a time because I'm not upgrading my Zoom account. But like, no, I think, the whole weddings are such a big occasion anyway that they probably would have no contact with each other anyway. And also it's that whole thing of like, who knows? Maybe a wedding would even make them like reconcile their differences and be like, do you know what? Let's just fucking move on from this crap and just be civil with each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but also, what makes you think that they need to be there? Like, let's talk about that, because I think so many people now think of weddings and they think, oh, it has to be a big family affair. Why? They're so expensive. If there's one thing about my wedding that me and Mitch always talk about, is the amount that we spent on it. We could have actually put a
Wait,
deposit on a
don't you
house
make
for the
money
amount that we
in
spent on our
weddings
wedding.
in the UK?
Athena, no. So like, it's
Oh
not like
my
a Greek
God, like
wedding where
here
people pin
people
fucking
make so
money
much
to your
money
dress.
in every wedding. Like it's ridiculous. Because everybody, no?
What? So how much do you give someone? So if you're going to someone's wedding, tell me, how much would you give them?
Last time I went, I gave them 200 euros.
Wow, 200
Yeah.
euros.
Well, Athena,
and how
you're
many?
coming to my wedding, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the
Bring
best.
all of your
hell.
family.
I mean, you might get 200 euros or 200 pounds from like a family member, maybe. And like, you know, from obviously the closest, like your mum, your dad, and that, they might give a larger amount because obviously they want to, but it's not for you to make money. That's to pay for the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
That's to help you pay for the wedding. So to give you an idea, right? So, and I don't mind talking about this publicly because I know people have spent way more on this, but our wedding probably cost us in the region of about £32,000 to £34,000, which is a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? But actually, that's kind of average, right? That's crazy to think that, but that's kind of
Wow.
average for a wedding. It's madness. We had a really nice venue, you know, we didn't really have many flowers, as Stevie remember. We had some, we didn't have loads. The venue was probably the most expensive, but it's all that. Do you know what's funny? Because I think the venue, it was like 18 or 19,000 for like everything all in, like the food and all that sort of thing, which is a lot of money, right? And you think, okay, because we were like, let's do 20,000. So then we'll just spend a little bit extra or whatever. We'll spend the extra £2,000 on the wedding stuff. Oh, funny. That's so funny. We were so naive.
Wow.
Literally just every sort of like few months, we'd be like, oh, okay, let's spend money on this and let's get this. And next minute we knew we'd made like a list of everything we bought. We were like, fuck, we've gone way over. Like there's just no way to do a wedding on the cheap. But you can if you really work hard at it. Like if you go abroad, we actually did a wedding of one of our friends and they got married in Dominican Republic. And how cool is this, right? They got married in the Dominican Republic and the hotel basically made an agreement that if they had more than 10 rooms sold, that they would get their wedding for free. And the only things they had to pay for was their wedding cake and the photographer, and the person who did the ceremony, which in Dominican Republic was super cheap. So they paid like fuck all. They basically got their whole wedding for free, because way more than 10 people came and stayed at the hotel. We came, that was one room, and we were just friends of theirs. They had their mums there, dads there, other friends there, uncles and aunties there. Loads of people were there.
Stevie,
So
I can
it was
organize you
easy.
your wedding here in Serbia, in the Motel Charlie. Yeah?
Yes, that would actually be super cute on
Seriously.
that hotel as well.
You'd pay
Oh
nothing.
my god, yes.
Done.
I mean, it's a fairly homophobic country, but who cares about that? That's fine.
I'll just get
I
Dylan
mean,
to
the
wear a wig.
hotel might get bombed, but
No,
that's
it's fine.
fine.
I'd have my godfather and his guys to watch the wedding.
Oh yeah, her godfather's like really crazy. He runs a hotel that basically terrorists. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's,
So yeah, maybe we won't do it at his hotel, but yeah,
no, not at
Marco's
his
hotel is
hotel, but he
lovely.
can do the security thing if you're worried.
He can
Yeah.
do, yeah, he can do the security. There you go.
Deal.
What an offer, Stevie.
Thank you so much. This podcast is so productive for me.
So
Seriously.
helpful. I mean, that is kind of like when you think of holiday wedding destinations, Serbia is kind of like one of the first places I would think of.
Yeah, same. Like when my parents talked to me about when I want to get married and stuff, I was like, I want to meet a girl and I want to get married in Serbia.
Yeah. I just want a nice beach wedding in Serbia.
I'll have a look and
no.
I'll keep you to that.
But also, what's stopping you from doing like? Have you guys ever talked about just doing like the whole registry office, few friends, and then doing a party?
Yeah, well, Dylan would really like all of his family there, and I would as well. But it's just speaking to them and sorting out like what they're actually happy with doing and whether they would. I know my dad would be fine with being in the same room as mum. It's my mum that I don't think would be. So I just need to sit down and talk to her.
That's so sad. So it's so weird. I find like that whole. Like, I mean, I understand it because obviously some people have been through some really bad times with their exes. My mum and dad, when they broke up, the main thing was like, we have to get on for the kids kind of thing. And they genuinely did. Like, don't get me wrong, they don't see eye to eye at all. Like, they're so completely different. But like, my dad and my stepmom went to my mum and stepdad's wedding. Like, it's so weird. I tell people about this all the time. Like, you know, we go to family meals all together and people find it so weird. They're always like, that's really weird. I'm like, I don't think it's weird. I think it's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I really like it. It is nice. I'm really lucky, actually.
I keep like saying, because my sister's slightly older than I am and she has a daughter, my niece, Talia. And I'm like, don't you want to get her like christened or like something that involves all the family members coming together, just so like Hannah can organise a family thing just so I don't have to do it first. But no, that hasn't happened yet. She doesn't want to get a christened, so.
Are you guys religious?
No, we're not at all. I just wanted something that would bring all the family together, and I feel like a christening would be one of them.
I don't even think you can get christened if you don't go. I only say that because one of my friends just recently got their kid christened, and I think you have to have a relationship with your church to be able to get christened. I don't know if that's the same for everywhere, but I know it was for their local church. They wouldn't do it unless they were attending.
I was going to say,
I know.
I was christened, but my family never went to church.
Oh, really? So funny. I think they were like, you know, you have to be part of the church to do it here. It's the same, I believe, with some weddings. I think maybe it's Catholic church.
Probably.
I don't know, but yeah, possibly. Hey, sorry to interrupt your podcast. I just wanted to tell you a quick bit about one of our sponsors, Loop It Pole. I just want to say a massive thank you to Loop It Pole for sponsoring this episode. Loop It Pole offer pole, aerial and fitness equipment for you to use not only at home but also at your studio. I actually have a Loop It Pole crash mat at my studio that's lasted me years and it's amazing. So if you are a home poler and you follow my polos page, you'll know how important crash mats are. So go and check out the crash mats. But I just recently taught at a pole camp where I used a Loop It pole. Now, I have been very strict on which poles I've always liked. I won't mention any names. And for the first time, I had to use a Loop It pole, and I was like, oh, okay, let's give this a try. And I have to say, I was quite impressed. It was a really good pole. Very, very grippy. And they offered different finishes as well. So there was like the powder coated finish. They had chrome. They had stainless steel, which actually I quite liked. I didn't think I'd like stainless steel, but I was a really big fan. So definitely go and check out Loop It Pole. They do international shipping. So Loop It poles are definitely starting to come out a lot more now. I'm seeing them everywhere. So go and check out Loop It Pole. Athena, sorry, we totally went off track there. What are your New Year's resolutions, please?
I have none.
Why?
Because, I don't know, I feel like I always have projects along the year, not like depending on what time of the year it is. Like if I decide I'm going to follow this project, I'm going to follow it. And then if New Year happens, it's just like I'm going to keep following my project. Like nothing changes. Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
So you don't have any like new business ventures or any goals or anything that you want to try doing this year?
I do, but they were from last year already.
What are they?
I want to compete in belly dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, tell us more about how belly dancing competitions work.
I have no idea. I haven't been to any.
Okay.
That was my first.
Stevie was like, that'll be a nice little topic to talk about. She's like, I have no idea. Stevie's like, okay, great. It was a good attempt though, Stevie. Thank you.
I just wanted to know, like, how they're like marked, or whether it's similar to like judging a pole competition.
Oh yeah, like I know they're marked like on very technical stuff. Like for example, because my coach, she's a judge too, and she's like some things like for example your turns, how you place your arms, you know, like in classical dance or stuff like that, this is what you're marked on. And then the rest, like your isolations and stuff like that, it's more like a plus. But if you don't have the correct turns and the correct arm technique and the correct posture, like it's already a big minus. So it's quite harsh. It's quite strict, you know.
I remember when you first started doing the belly dance, and I remember thinking like, this will be a phase. She won't carry on doing this. And it's so funny because actually now you're getting really, really good at it. I see your videos and I'm like, wow, she's actually really good at it. So well done to you. I mean, I only say that because you do so many different little things. Like you've horse riding. Are you still horse riding?
No, it started getting cold. I gave up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same. To be fair, I say it every year. I'm always like, oh, I need to start riding again. I did a couple times. Was that last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. Yeah, I think I rode maybe a couple times. Bought loads of riding stuff because like, yeah, I'm going to go back again. Because I used to work with horses years ago. I was, yeah, I'm going to go riding again. I went like 2 or 3 times and then I was like, oh, it's getting cold now.
Oh, I was actually so hyped this summer. I was telling Annie, I was like, because Annie used to have a horse and I was like, I'm going to buy a horse. And I was already like looking at horses for sale and everything. And I had just started riding, you know, and Annie was like, babe, don't do that. It's like burning all your money. Don't do that. Don't do that. And
oh my God. It really
it
is.
is. I was so hyped about
literally,
it.
You can spend
it's
so
crazy.
much.
The cost is crazy. Like even here in Serbia, it's expensive. It's ridiculous. And then as winter started, I was like, my riding instructor would message me like, are you coming this week? No.
Oh God, yeah. I remember it's one of my friends, his auntie, she owns like a stable, it's like a livery yard, we call it. So for anyone listening, you probably call it something different. But yeah, like a livery yard is somewhere where you would like have your horses and then they get looked after by the people who are at the stables. And the cost, oh my God, it's just so expensive. Like per month, they're spending hundreds just to have their horses looked after. Like, and this is without vet bills, without their saddles, their, like all of their rugs, all these crazy things. It's just like crazy. So yeah, as much as I love horses, I feel like horses are for super rich people who have just got so much money to earn. Do you know what I mean?
Or also, I feel like it could be they don't have kids or they don't have any other animals. Because animals, I think, in general are expensive. Like, you have 3 dogs, that can't be, like, dog walker, vet bills. Expensive.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the dog walker only comes once a week, just because Mondays are, like, our busiest days. But, yeah, I mean, I just looked at the time, it says 11:11, angel numbers, angel numbers. Oh, look at us. Let's all say together. No, I'm joking. But,
I don't really know what 11:11 means. Are you meant to make a wish?
So, no, I don't know. I don't know that you need to make a wish. In fact, we can ask Athena about this. It's really funny. Sorry, we're totally going off subject here, everyone. But yeah, so when you see like 1111 or like ones in like a sequence, they're called angel numbers. And I remember Lauren Keneally talked to me about it on her podcast. So if you want to learn more about it, go and listen to Lauren Keneally's podcast that she did with me. But and yeah, it's like, Athena, can you remember what it means, the angel numbers
thing? I think
1111
is like if you're being supported on your path.
That's it, yeah. It's like someone's like you're being watched over, like an angel's watching over you, or something.
Yeah. It's funny, it's always the girls who know everything about these things, you know, like astrology, numbers. It's such a girl thing.
I know. It's so funny because I was talking to Lauren about crystals and I think I told her at the time, I might have told her off air, I was like, the only thing that I really know about crystals is that you can buy dildo versions. I think she was just a bit like, wow, okay. I'd seen a meme about crystal dildos and I just remember thinking, what the fuck?
Athena, you'll be proud of me. I got my tarot cards read on New Year's Eve.
Oh my God, what did it say?
It was only just quickly because we had a tarot card reader in our bar for New Year's Eve, and she did like past, present, and future. And my past was Queen of Pentacles, I think, which is weird.
Good?
Yeah.
Well, it was like she said it was like an earth card and a female influence and like energy that's around me, which I think is my mum. She's not dead, she's still alive.
Don't ask Athena. She just pretends to know. She just puts cards down on her videos, takes photos of them for Instagram, and she's like, "Oh wow." She doesn't know
Such an
any of them. Mean.
influencer. Actually, I've dropped all the cards and everything.
Oh, you're not doing the
No.
tarot reading anymore. See what I mean?
Fair.
She's like, she's hot and cold. So watch it. Next year we'll be talking about how she doesn't do belly dance anymore.
But which is I thought was weird. I'll just go back to this quickly. Is Queen that same card as what I had when I last had my tarot cards reading for like the same part, which I think is weird. And then my present
What was the other
was
bits?
Prince of Cups, which is like a supportive, like male influence, and then my future was King of Cups, which is like same thing, which I thought was odd.
Do you think that's Dylan?
Yeah, I think it's Dylan, but it's all subjective, isn't it? Like you can really like draw parallels to whatever
Oh,
in your life you
absolutely.
think. But
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is. Do you know what? I mean, I won't say I'm not a believer. I think it's good. Like, and it's so funny. I hope she doesn't listen to this, but my sister-in-law, she's really into the whole like what's the ones that talk to dead people? What they like send messages to them.
was this April?
It's April, yeah. What are they called? What are they called when they
Mediums.
when
Yeah.
mediums, yeah. So she goes to this medium.
Oh my God.
She goes. I feel so bad saying this. April, I love you. I'm sorry. I hope you don't take offense to this. But basically, she goes to this medium, right? And then she was like, oh, yeah. She mentioned to Mitch that she'd had a medium reading, but she didn't go to the medium. They did it over the phone. And I was like, what? So now we've just got this joke. I'm always like, oh no. I'm like, she doesn't need to go. She can do it through the phone now. Like, it's fine. She can just do it through the phone. I'm like, babes, come on. I'm like, if she was a real medium, surely she wouldn't be doing it through the phone. Like, and as well, do you not find that so many of these people, like, they could just be guessing? I went to a medium once, and someone was like, oh, they were like, there was a group of us, so it was like a medium evening thing, and they were like, oh, they were like, I'm getting something come through for you, and I was like, here we fucking go. And at this point, I didn't really have many dead relatives either. I only had one, which was one of my granddads, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they were like, yeah, he's saying something about, he's mentioning like a rainbow warrior or something. So I was like, bitch, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, you're going to play the gay card because you can see I'm one guy here sat with a load of girls. I'm quite clearly gay. So come on, anyone could have fucking done that. And I was like, oh, so yeah, maybe it's my granddad. But in my head, I was just thinking, it's no way my granddad. Like, and you're just thinking like, come on. Sometimes though, I hear stories where people say, oh, they knew this and this. And I'm like, wow, that does impress me. Because I'm like, how the fuck? But you know when some people are just like, oh, yeah, I'm getting a male figure. Do you know any men? Men, yes. Maybe it's my granddad. Yes, it's your granddad, actually. Yes.
I had a customer the other day saying that she was like a medium, and she was like, what do roses mean to you? And I was like, nothing apart from like love. And she was like, oh, I'm getting it from like your mum as your mum passed. And I was like, no, she's still alive. And she was like, maybe like a nan. I was like, my nan's still alive.
Oh my God.
Did your mum pass? Maybe it's from your mum. Did your mum pass? No, she didn't. Well, I have some bad news for you.
I know, exactly. Have you spoken to her recently?
I have some really bad news. I'm actually a police officer. I'm not actually a medium. I don't know why you think I'm a medium. I'm actually a police officer, but okay.
I'm like literally in a police uniform. I'm like, yeah, this medium came up to me and kept telling me that my mum was dead, but she's still alive.
I know. But it's just, I'm always joking about April. I'm just like, oh, maybe she can ask her medium. She can just call her medium. And it's just like, sometimes in those
I
situations,
would love it
like,
if her medium
surely-
just sent her voice notes.
So yeah, I'll just send you a voice note. But yeah, I just had deja vu. Have we talked about this before?
No.
I don't think so.
I feel, oh my God, I just had the weirdest deja vu on that. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know how, we were talking about angel numbers, weren't we? But yeah, it's really funny because the angel numbers thing, I never ever used to see them. And I never really do that often, but just randomly today I did. So that's good. Someone's watching over me. Maybe it's April's medium. Oh dear. Okay, so Athena, no New Year's resolutions.
No,
for
apart
you,
from
no?
maybe, yeah, I said I would keep.
I'm not a
Stevie's
medium, I'm a
off.
police officer and your mum's dead. Sorry.
It's good.
Oh dear. Right,
It was
and
a good
breathe,
one.
and
It was a
breathe.
good one. It was
It
really
was a
good.
good one. So yeah, okay, well that's fair enough. I mean, if
Yeah,
you don't have any
apart
New Year's
from
resolutions, that's okay as
pressuring
well.
my kids, especially the eldest, like I'm really gonna pressure him so much, squeeze everything out of him this year.
Why? What are you trying to pressure him into?
No, no, I'm kidding. I'm I'm making it sound like it's so bad, but like
Your
really
poor son.
to direct him.
Yeah, you're trying to help direct him in the right direction. That's fair enough. What do you want your kids to be when they're older, Athena? I always think about things like this. You know when I actually saw, again, so stupid. I saw on social media people were like, why are people asking children what they want to be when they're older? Like it was really an offensive thing to do. Like we shouldn't be
Of course, you
pushing
should ask
them to
them.
be like, we shouldn't be pushing our kids to be doctors and so on. So I was like, but then what are they gonna? How do they know what they want to do if we don't talk
No.
to them about the sort of career paths they want? So what do you want your kids to do? What are you hoping they'll do?
So I know that they like, for example, it's really funny because I'm really like insisting with my eldest that he's good at school. But the thing is that I was really shit at school and his dad was really shit at school. Like neither of us finished school, you know, and then he comes with these comments like, but none of you finished school and you're doing really great for yourself. And I'm like, but this is not what I want for you, you little shit. You have to finish your school. And then, you know, like, we're not an example. And for example, and I'm really pushing him with sports, but that's good because he really loves it. So it's great. And I know he will go to the army. And then I don't know. But I have all this plan and it's really funny.
Is the army compulsory there? No.
No, but it's kind of weird if you don't go, if you're a guy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
fine.
oh, what's wrong with him? Why didn't he go to the army? It's a little bit weird. Like,
How long do they have to go for?
oh, like 9 months or something like that. I think,
Oh.
yeah, it's not a big.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny because Marco and I, we were talking like, what if one of them is gay? You know, because, and I was like, I don't care. I just want a grandchild. Like, I've raised you. I paid for you all my life, all your life. You're going to give me the grandchild and you go live your best life with your husband or do whatever the fuck you want, but you give me the grandchild and then you can fuck off.
Yeah, but you can't.
Why do you want
I
a
was saying, why the fuck
grandchild?
do you want a grandchild? Also, you can't put that pressure on him.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, like, of course I can. But yeah, it's so funny because my mum was actually very similar. It's really funny because she said the same. She was like, oh, I just really want a grandchild. And I was like, well, great, because I think Josh is going to give you one. So that's great. Perfect. Like, he can sort that. But I do not want kids. Like, and I'm not going to have kids just because my mum wants a fucking grandchild. She can fuck off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I feel like that's sort of maybe a bit more ingrained in your culture.
Yeah.
I think in the UK, maybe not as much. I don't know.
Like my mum watching her with Charlie and like my mum's first grandchild, it's almost given her like a new lease of life. Like it's such a good way for it sounds really bad, but it's made her a lot more mobile, like running after Talia, like playing with her. It's like it's almost feels like it's made her younger.
Yeah. But as well, it's not even just that. Like, so for example, I don't want kids, which is fine. But there are some people as well that don't want grandkids, you know?
It's crazy.
Because it's that whole thing of like, yeah, but I can kind of, you're like, and they're crazy.
It's like, give them to me.
But it's just, but I can understand, like, I mean, some people are a bit more of the view, like, you know, I'm happy to be a grandparent, but I'm not happy to be a babysitter. And I do kind of understand that. Whereas it's funny because like with Athena, I've been to Athena's house and Baba, which is their grandma, she looks after the kids all the time, doesn't she? That's like her job, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what she does. She looks after the kids. Like it's so normal there. That's like, it's like Greek families. They're very family orientated.
Does your mum live with you?
My partner's mom, yeah. Well, we live with her actually. It's her house, and she does everything.
She's the sweetest as well. When I was there, she just kept, like, she doesn't speak English, but she just kept bringing food and just putting it towards my face, like, would you like this? And I'd be like, no, thank you. And then she'd be like, okay. And then she'd like come back an hour later, she'd be like, what about this? Would you like this? I'm like, no.
He said the same about children for you, because the first day, you know that you're the first gay person she's ever met. She's never met.
I know.
Yeah.
I think she was just fascinated by me.
Yeah, she was fascinated. And after, when you left the first day, she was like, but he's so handsome. And I was like, yeah, he's handsome. She was like,
I love her.
What a shame. He would have such handsome children. Like, the very was like the children, you know, he's so handsome. He's so muscly. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Oh, bless her. She was so cute. But it's just so different in that kind of, different countries have different cultures, don't they? I think it's like Italian families, I think are similar as well, where the families all live together, and Greek as well are quite family orientated, whereas I feel like English families just aren't the same like that. So I can understand why some grandparents are like, I don't want to be a babysitter constantly. Whereas Mitch's mum loves babysitting. April's daughter, you know, his sister's daughter.
Did you forget that?
No. I didn't want to say her name because otherwise people would be like, who is she? But yeah, our niece, yeah, Mitch's mum loves looking after her. It just depends on the person, doesn't it? But yeah, I'm going to change the subject slightly just because I'm just conscious of time and it's something that I wanted to talk about. So I just watched last night. I don't know if you're keeping up to date on this, Athena, or whether you even care. Probably not. But I watched the the interview last night with Harry, Prince Harry, about the whole, like, his new book that's coming out called Spare. And I'm really intrigued to read it. And it's so funny because when I was watching it, Mitch was like, have you seen all the hashtags that are trending? And I was reading through them and I was like, it's crazy actually to see how much negativity they both get. It's really crazy. And I wouldn't say that I'm like pro Harry, anti royals at all. I think it's just such a shame really that it's come to this point for them. But I really like Harry and I also really like the royal family. So it's a really difficult one for me because I love both. But it's just so sad that it has come to this. And I do feel for Meghan and the shit that she's had to deal with, like, you know, and it does. I know there's so much like talk about, oh, you know, he doesn't want history to repeat itself. And after what happened to his mum, I'm not fucking surprised. I mean, what's your view on it, Stevie? What do you think of it all?
I haven't watched it. I haven't really read anything about it. I've just kind of kept, like, I don't know. Don't really have much of an opinion of it.
Yeah, so, and Athena, you...
Sorry. I haven't got a lot
let's
to
just
add.
move on to another subject. I'm joking. No, it's so weird, I think, and it's like we were talking about with the whole social media thing. You're never going to please everyone. And I just think it's really sad to see that as many people as there are hating on them. But yeah, it's that whole thing of like, they're never going to please anyone. And I just think they're never going to win this. You know, I just feel sad for them.
No, because they have to be so cryptic as well. The stuff that they say, they can't pinpoint a royal out. And also, the royal family can't really comment back because that's just not the way that they work.
Yeah.
So it's just always going to be a backwards and forwards. So you're never really going to get the answers that you want from it, which is why I haven't bothered reading or watching any of it.
I just read in the newspapers this morning. Actually, it's funny. In our newspapers, there was like a picture of Harry, and they were saying how Harry is not Charles' kid.
Oh, this has been a rumor for like, this was a rumor
Yeah,
years ago.
I know.
I think it was like one of Diana's
Bodyguards.
It was a body or something like that, or it was like a coat, like wasn't it her like polo coach or something like this? It was some sport or something that she played, and actually you put the pictures of them together and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, they literally look exactly the same as each other. It's like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, it's all speculation, isn't it? And again, I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we will ever find out. But then it's that whole thing of like, so what if it is? So what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, does it? He was brought up as, like, if I found out now, I don't know how you feel about it. Like, if you found out now, Stevie, that your mum isn't your real, your dad isn't your real dad. Obviously, your mum is your real mum. But like, if you found out that your dad isn't your real dad, how would that make you feel?
Oh, it'd be so good because then I don't have to invite them to the wedding.
Yes, maybe you should get a paternity test just in case.
Exactly, just in case. Problem solved.
God.
Finally.
I just don't think I'd be really that bothered. I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But my dad is my dad because he's the one that brought me up. Unless...
Yeah, I would feel... unless he knew about it,
yeah,
I'd probably be a bit like...
I think I just wouldn't be that bothered unless it was like someone like Jeff Bezos, and then I'd be like, ooh, I have big on money.
Hi,
honey.
Daddy.
Hi, Daddy. Daddy, I'm home. I'd be like Annie going to like Daddy Warbucks. Do you, Athena, have you ever seen that movie? Did you get that movie in Serbia? Annie.
I don't know. I'm not very good with movies, so probably, but I'm shit with movies.
It's about an orphan child that gets adopted by a millionaire, basically.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. Oh, I can't believe you've not seen.
But the best thing about that movie is Miss Hannigan. Little girls, little girls.
Yeah, Miss Hannigan is like the best character in it, but yeah, it's a really good movie. You should watch it. But I was a bit like, I don't even know if you'll even get this because I could assumed you hadn't ever watched Annie before.
But you know what TV show we had here that's really funny when we were kids, like All Fools and Horses?
No, Only Fools and Horses. Do you mean?
Oh yeah.
All Fools.
But you had that, but that's really weird.
Unless she was watching a different program. Maybe it was just a program of people that were all fools, like riding horses or something. All Fools and Horses. Maybe it's like a Serbian version of the program that we had here. Yeah, no, my dad loved that program, so I kind of grew up around Only Fools and Horses because it was like such a big thing here. It was very much like the dads used to all watch it kind of thing. But yeah, so you watched that as a kid? Oh,
yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it. Everybody loved it here.
Really? It's so funny. I wouldn't have thought it would transfer over at all.
I know.
It's very British humour, actually.
So random. Yeah, I am.
Okay, how we do for time? Right, cool. But to finish up...
Cringes. Let's do the social media cringes.
Okay, we'll talk about social... We've got 2 more things to talk about. We'll make them quick. So social... I'm going to go first because I know Athena's going to steal it from me. Things that make you cringe on social media. So for me... I hate watching people cry on camera. Sorry. I knew you were going to try and take that one, so I'm going to take it now. So me and Athena talk about it all the time. Whenever people... There's 2 different types of crying on social media. So I'll explain the one that we don't like. So I don't like it when people are already crying when they press record. It doesn't feel genuine. It means that you are in that moment of crying. You've had to get your phone and press record on yourself. So I find that really ungenuine. Now, I've seen videos before where people have been talking about something sad, like someone's passed away, and they're talking about them and how they loved them, whatever, and then a few tears come out. It's different. It is different because they're already talking and they've gotten upset. So that's one of my cringes. I also find it quite cringy that people like that don't follow a certain person will go to their page and comment hate and things, because I just think it's so weird that you don't follow this person, but you obviously do follow them because you've waited for this post to come up and then you've gone and given them hate. And I just find that really weird. So that's a cringe for me. I'm just a bit like, oh, you don't. So when people come to my page and they comment stuff that's bad, but they don't follow me, I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's a fan. Like, that's a fan for me. Like, I know that sounds stupid to call them a fan, but to be so obsessed with someone that you would wait for them to post something that you can comment on when you don't even follow them. Wow, that's intense. But yeah. Okay, Stevie, you go next.
I don't really have any, because I don't, I mean, I do use social media, but my cringes.
It can be anything, like TikTok dances. It could be like, do you hate when like guys post like topless pictures? I don't know, anything like. It doesn't have to be people's behaviour. It can be certain posts, like when people post a certain thing. Or
I don't like cryptic messages, like when you've been following someone and I don't know, that have like relationships. I can't say that word. Breaks, and then they're just like so sad. And then they don't say anything, or like, I'm like, look, if you're going to put your life on social media, I at least want to know why you've broken up as well. Like, you need to come out with all the information.
Oh, yeah. It's like, come on, like, give us the full story.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when people do that, you know, when people do that, like, it's like, oh, long night for me. And then they tag their location at the hospital. And
yeah.
Well, fucking tell me what you're there for, cunt.
I want to know your symptoms. I want to know who your doctor is. I want to know when you checked in, who's with you.
What's your symptoms?
Yeah, tell me all.
I want to know how many times have you shit yourself. Like, we want to know what's happening.
What's your blood group? Everything.
Literally. What's your NHS number? Tell me all of it. It just, I find it annoying when you like look at videos or like pictures or statuses or whatever it is, and they just don't give you all the information. And then like there's so many pictures like now of like new year, new me, and I'm like, well, what's new about you? Tell me. I want to know. Like, I don't want a picture of you with like, like in a club somewhere. What's different? What's changing?
You know, yeah, when people write those cryptic messages, it always makes me laugh, because what makes me laugh more is the comments underneath it of like, hope you're okay, hun, like, message me if you need anything. So I saw, I think I shared it actually, it was a TikTok, this girl was like basically taking the piss out of people that do this. She like took a picture of herself in a hospital bed and then was like, at the hospital, hope I'm not going to be here for too long. And then people were commenting, and then she was replying back. They were like, oh, are you okay? And then she was commenting back to them. She was like, I'm okay, hun, I'll DM you. And then another person comments like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, all good, hun, I'll DM you. And it was just a bit like, I totally agree with that. It's so fucking annoying. Like, if you're going to just reply to everyone saying, I'll DM you, why don't you just fucking post what's going on?
Just post.
Just post.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, tripped and fell over. And this happened, whatever. Like, it's probably not going to be anything interesting.
I know. Like, there was this person, this woman on Facebook that I follow, and her daughter's really ill at the moment, which is really sad. But she's in hospital, and her mum is like taking pictures of her, and she's like either not awake or like isn't aware that these pictures are on Facebook. And I'm like, why? What are you doing? I would be.
Where is the consent?
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
But yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel the same. I'm just a bit like, it just seems very odd. Like, if I'm going to post something, I feel like but don't get me wrong, if you're going to post like a little inspirational quote or something, whatever, like, people do that, don't they? But if you're going to post something and be like, give half the story, like, and you know people are going to ask, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, if you post something that's like a bit cryptic, no worries, whatever, if it's just really general. But if you post something that's kind of like half a story, it's just be like, what was the point in that? Like,
Yeah.
at the hospital, well, you know, people are going to want to know why. So why would you do that? But yeah, I agree. Any
And
other cringes?
my last cringe is when people post dinners of their post pictures of their dinners. Maybe like normally Sunday roast, and they're so shit. Like, just don't post a picture. I don't want to see it. That dinner just makes me upset. It looks awful. Like, yeah, that's my.
I've definitely posted pictures of my food before, I'm sure.
Oh, I've done too.
Yeah, I mean, but it just, as soon as you said that, I was like, he is totally aiming that at me. Because Mitch does it all the time as well.
I
was sending a picture the other day, but it was
Mitch totally does that.
No, it wasn't. It was someone posted a picture. I think it was last week of their like dinner, and I was like, "Why would you post it? It looks so bad."
It's shit.
But that's that's
so
my cringe.
funny. No, I agree. Yeah, no, I totally. Have you ever seen that that group on Facebook called Rate My Plate? Have you seen it?
No.
Oh god, it's so funny. Basically, you put a picture of your food in there, and people have to rate it.
You're finna.
And some of the comments, "You're finna," "I'm finna eat my dinner," but like you put your dinner in there and like a picture of it, and people will rate it. And some of the comments are just hilarious. Athena, what are your cringes?
Yeah, Athena, tell us.
Well, because he's so much.
Stop it. You need to stop.
Stevie.
Athena. Oh god, sorry, Athena. Go. Right, tell me, what's your cringe?
Is that from a TV show or something?
No,
Finna?
I just said finna by accident. But have you ever, talking, whilst we're on this finna, have you ever seen, I don't know, it's like young people say it, like instead of saying like, oh, I'm gonna eat all this food, they'll be like, I'm finna eat all this food. What does that mean? I don't get it. I know what it means. And I know it's basically like saying gunner, but why did they change the G to F?
I think it's like a southern. It's a southern, like American accent,
it's an American,
kind of. No,
it's definitely an American thing because I mainly see Americans write it, not English people. But it just made me laugh. So when I said finna and then you caught it, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Right. Anyway, a finna. Tell me what your cringes are.
Well, you stole my crying in public. Oh God, I hate that so much. Oh, sometimes I make myself cringe because I hate stalkers, but I am so obsessive sometimes. Like, yeah, like for example, Marco's ex. I don't know why I have a thing about, like, I will never check my own exes. I don't care about them, but I like to check his exes on social media and see what they're up to, you know? And he doesn't even have social media, so he doesn't even know about her Facebook because I couldn't find her on Instagram, but I found her on Facebook like years ago. And like, I know everything about her. I know who her brother is, who her mother is, her husband, her blood type. And like, it was like like 2 years ago or something, I saw that she got married, and I was like, and I actually watched her whole wedding video. Like, how fucking, like, what a creep, you know? Why do you do that? So stupid. And then I would go home and I would be like, you know who got married yesterday? And Marco would be like, oh, your ex. And he's like, why are you telling? How do you know that?
And then you're like, because I went to her wedding. Oh god, that's crazy. You are nuts. What else?
Yeah,
what else makes you cringe on social media?
Okay, victims. They piss me off. You know, the ones who are like, pour me this, pour me that, pour me that. My level of victimhood. And it's like, yeah, they piss me off so much.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, I've never understood, like, when you're going to be a victim or whatever. Like, let's say, for example, you I don't know, you've been a victim of something and then you're posting about it. It's like, well, what are you hoping to achieve from it? Like, that's always what I think is like, what are you trying to achieve here? Obviously, it's sympathy, right? So then it just makes you look more like an attention seeker, I guess. But yeah, no, I agree. I find that a bit cringe as well. But I think everyone finds that cringe, maybe. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
I
with you on that
totally
one.
agree. To finish off the podcast today, I wanted to talk about an important subject because it's something that I need to make a decision on, and I haven't made a decision on yet. So we're going to finish on this. So Tuesday topic, I'm thinking of stopping, and the reason, I'll tell you why, it's for two reasons. One, because let's be honest, Athena, you always take the piss out of it anyway, but they're getting shit now. Like, we're running out of topics. Like, we are kind of running out of topics. I get some good ones every now and then, but I run out of them. And I get a lot of messages which are just people bitching about each other. It'll be like, oh, you know, my studio, and then they'll write the studio's name, are doing this, this, and this, and they won't give me a refund for this. I don't really think this is appropriate. What do you think? In the hopes that I'll share it and that people will then go and basically troll this company into doing what this one person wants. So I don't share them. It's just such a fucking waste of my time going through the petty messages. And then sometimes it'll be a good topic. I'll be like, okay, this is a good one. But then the ones that are really good that I do think need to be discussed, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't think we should even be giving time to this topic. So you remember the one about the trans man that wanted to go topless but hadn't wanted to go topless in class and stuff. People are like, we shouldn't be giving a platform to people who disagree with this. This, of course, should be allowed. And I was like, but the problem is that just based on the comments alone, just goes to show how much it needed to be discussed. But the problem is that it's topics like that then get people tagging me personally as if I'm being a transphobe or something. I'm like, listen, I haven't said whether I agree or disagree with it. And in fact, on that one, I think I did agree and said, well, you know, I think if they're identifying as a man, that you should, you know, let them do what they need to do as they identify as a man, you know. And it's that whole thing of people then try to put the blame onto me personally, like as if I'm enabling, you know, this transphobia. But the problem is it's not enabling transphobia. Obviously, we don't allow transphobia on the page, but what it is doing is it's encouraging discussion on a
it's giving it
subject
visibility.
that can include... Yeah, it's giving it visibility. But the problem is that if it doesn't get discussed, it will always just be one of these subjects that people don't know. So the people that disagree with it will be able to give their opinion on why they disagree with it in a nice way. But imagine if someone just randomly made a status saying, I don't think that trans men should be allowed in studios or whatever. Imagine they said that. And people would kick off because they would attach that opinion with that one person. Whereas with polos, it makes it a bit better because people can say stuff anonymously and ask stupid questions. And then we can all discuss together what we think. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? I don't know. Honestly, I'm at a point sometimes with it where I'm just like, oh, I really just can't be bothered with the hassle of it. It's such a hassle sometimes.
Could you move it to like monthly instead of weekly?
Could do. Yeah, I could do. It doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that it could still cause unnecessary drama. Don't get me wrong. Me and Athena have discussed this before. The only people who really cause drama are people that cause drama about everything. It's not just a random person. Like Stevie, you never cause drama on social media. You post every now and then. You post positive stuff on social media. You're a normal social media user, right? But the people who are kicking off and creating hate campaigns, these are not people like you. This isn't people like you. These are people who do this on everything. So they comment on everything. They share everything. They're activists, you know. So, you know, it's not, and these people really go hard. Do you know what I mean? They go really hard, almost to the point where it's just like, oh, I just end up having to block all of them because it just stops them from being able to do it to me. Well, it stops them being able to do it to me and me knowing about it anyway. And it's just that whole thing of like, do I have the energy even once a month to deal with that crap? And sometimes I just don't know that I do. I'm just like, but then like I did say, I'm trying not to look at the comments anymore as much. So then it could be that whole thing of like, who fucking cares? Like, I'm not
Yeah, and
going to
you're
look at
trying to
comments
have
anyway.
Nadia deal with everything anyway, right?
But it uses, it's funny because one of the reasons, so someone actually did once comment something that wasn't transphobic. It was actually just, it was questioning someone else's belief. And because it was questioning their belief, they were like, whoa, you're transphobic. They were just, oh, you must be transphobic. So, and they were like, oh, they messaged us and were like, hey, please can you delete this comment? And it just happened to be that I'd seen it, this message. So then I had to take time out of my day to go through these comments, look, and then message them back and be like, well, actually, I don't think they are being transphobic. And fortunately, we're not going to delete it because everyone's entitled to their opinion. And if I did delete it, I'm then silencing this other person, which also isn't fair. And then they reply, like, oh, I'm not happy with this, blah, blah, blah. And really kicking off about it. I just thought, this is actually taking time out of my day. And if you imagine that across maybe 10 people, it can sometimes take me and Nadia, 20, 30 minutes of our day of work where we could have been doing work. You know what I mean? But then I also think maybe it's better that we just make the decisions on what we delete ourselves and delete it if we feel necessary.
Does it help with your engagement? Yeah. Like, I guess the reason to do a Tuesday topic, or does it benefit you as like using your page? And if it is, and if it's kind of working, helps with your engagement, and then that's kind of really why you're doing it, help your business to shed a light on certain topics. And if it's still ticking those boxes, then fine.
Yeah, there's so many different facets to it, I think. But yeah, it does. Obviously, it helps engagement because so many people do pipe in, which is great. Sometimes they don't. Depends on what the topic is. But if it's a good one, yeah, a lot of people do put their opinion in, and it does help us with our social media ranking, which, as we know at the moment, is so hard without paying for ads and stuff. And yeah, so it does help. But then it also, I've never tried without it. So I've never tried without Tuesday Topic. So yeah, it might be worth having a little break. And like you said, maybe doing monthly. And then if it doesn't do very well and we have a lower engagement, then try up it again. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Athena?
Maybe you should do like a poll. I never know how to say that.
Well, we call it a poll, yeah.
A poll, yeah. And like ask people what they think of the Tuesday topic.
Yeah.
That would be good. But at least you then get a gauge of like what you think, of whether people think it's worth it or not.
But I find, I've done similar to this before, because I remember a long, long time ago, some drama kicked off. And I was like, listen, is anyone enjoying these? Like, do you want them to stay? And lots of people voted for it to stay. So I think the same would happen again. But I think that whilst people pretend in the comments to say they don't like it, I think people enjoy the drama.
Of course, because if you don't like something on Instagram, you just scroll past it. You won't even, like, it's like anyone who is there enjoys it.
Of course. Yeah. This is the thing. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, Athena. I think the people who are commenting and stuff, I think even though they say they hate it, I think secretly they love it. Because if they did hate it, and if they like look at so many things, sometimes when I'm going through like TikTok and stuff, I'll see some bullshit and I'll think, oh, what a load of shit. I'll just scroll past it. I don't go on it and I comment on it.
No.
And especially if it's like, let's say Kim Kardashian posts something. I don't ever go and comment on stuff like that, even if I disagree with it. And lots of people don't, because they know their comment's never going to get fucking noticed anyway, because she's got millions of followers. Whereas people do it with pages like Polols and the smaller pages because they're smaller and they know they will get noticed. So they use it as a way to elevate their own voice, which I really don't like. And I don't like to open a platform for people to do that. But yeah, I might do that actually. I might do a poll. Yeah.
I do a poll.
I was just more intrigued to know. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a poll. Well, it was so nice talking to you guys. I always love it when we do our podcast together, and we'll have to do it again soon. Maybe we'll do one. We'll do one in a couple of weeks or something. Love you guys lots. Speak to you soon.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Really hope you liked it. And if you've got any guests that you want to see on the show soon, make sure you send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll make sure to try and get them on in the future. And until next time, bye.
That was all the tea that you can get this week. Join me next time.